In this video, I'd like to show how to test the speed sensor on a Suzuki SV650. To do that, we're going to use a multimeter, some test clips, a safety pin, and a couple of probes. You could use small finish nails, but these are probes for connector pins for the speed sensor so that we can probe that. So first thing we're going to do is take our multimeter, put it into voltage mode. Over here is the Suzuki 650. This is a 2007. In this headlight shell, find the speed sensor plug, unplug that. This plug, the one with the pins sticking out, the male pins inside, is power from the gauge to the speed sensor, and then this plug here is the speed sensor wires itself. So first thing we want to do is check the voltage coming from the gauge to the speed sensor. There's pink is the sensor signal out, black white is ground, and orange red is power. So we'll connect the black on the meter to black, white on the plug, red on the meter to orange red. Now these probes are very close to each other. There is a current limit resistor, a 100 ohm resistor inside the gauge on this line. So even if you short these, no damage will be done. But in general, you'd like to avoid doing that. So we're going to turn power on, and we see 11 volts. This is a little bit under battery voltage due to the source coming through the gauge, not directly from the battery. Now another test we can do while we have this hooked up is we can measure the current coming out. Now there is, as said, a 100 ohm current limit resistor from the gauge in this orange red line here. So if we put the gauge into current mode, current measure mode, we unplug the red, and then down here there are two settings. You can plug it into a 10 amp port or a 300 milliamp port. We're going to use the 300 milliamp port. Turn the meter setting to DC amp, plug it in, and we should see about 100 milliamps, so 97. That's because the voltage inside the gauge is about 10 volts, and we have a 100 ohm limit resistor in there, and 10 divided by 100 gives us the 100 milliamps. So that proves that the power from the gauge is okay. Now one more test we can do is use the jumper wires and measure how much current the sensor itself is pulling. It doesn't tell us that the sensor for sure is healthy, but it gives us a good indication if it's working or not. Because if it draws the correct current, then that's a good sign. So we'll get these pins here. Now basically what we're going to do is power the speed sensor down at the wheel directly from the battery. So we're not concerned with the pink wire, that's sensor power out. We're just concerned with the black white, which is ground, and orange red, which is power. And we're going to measure how much current the speed sensor draws. So we're going to plug these pins in to make contact. We're going to use this black jumper. One end connects to the battery negative. The other connects to black white on the speed sensor, and then with the multimeter still in DC amp on the 300 milliamp range, connect to battery positive, and the other lead to speed sensor positive. and this will tell us how much current the speed sensor is drawing. And we can see it's drawing 3.47 milliamps. So a healthy speed sensor, if you see no current draw, that would mean it's open. If you see a lot of current draw, that's a problem also. So 3 milliamps is probably ballpark healthy region for a SV650 sensor. Now the last thing we're going to do is measure. Let's unclip this. And use this push pin, safety pin, to put the multimeter back into voltage mode. Reconnect the speed sensor. I have the front wheel off the ground right now so we can spin it to do the test. Black lead we connect to battery negative. And then to measure this test we're going to measure the speed sensor signal out as we spin the wheel. So voltmeter is to battery negative. On the negative, we're in voltage range, voltage measure mode, and on the sensor we have to do this with the sensor connected so that the orange, red, and black, white are giving power. Whoops. So the orange, red, and black, white are giving power to the sensor, and then we're going to probe the pink wire out with this pin. We're going to push through the insulation and then spin the wheel. So we push through the insulation, oh, forgot to turn power on. Okay, now as we spin the front wheel, not making good enough connection. Oh, there it goes. We see 4.8 volts as the magnet passes, and then it drops down to 0.13. Keep spinning the wheel up to 4.8, down to 0.13, 4.8, 0.13. So every time the magnet passes the sensor, you can see the voltage toggle up to 4 something, down close to 0. And on this particular model, it does it 8 times per wheel rev. On the Suzuki 650 2003 and 2004, speed sensor only has 4 magnets, so you only see it do it 4 times per rev. So that's how to test the sensor. I hope that was informative and hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.